Hey, everybody. Welcome to Keep It Spiritually Simple. I'm your host, Sandra McEllis, and I am so excited. I have Toni Ghazi on today. He channels the mantis. He travels the world, telling people the mantis messages, and he has just really impressed me when I met. We don't live too far from each other, but our worlds don't collide here in this little DC tri-state area. But I'm just so excited I can finally sit down with him. And so we're going to have him talk a little bit about his story, give some messages, and then we're going to call in the mantis and have a little Q&A. So welcome, Toni.
Thank you, my love. Thank you, Sandra. So good to see you. But just for your audience, in case they're not resonating yet with Mantis, just to say insectoid beings, just so you have a visual, right?
Ah,
So they're insect beings. I know
yes.
it's crazy. He belongs to a mental hospital. What do you mean he talks to insectoid beings? I know. It's as real as you, I swear to you, everything is real. Anyways, so should I begin, love?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Jump
thank
right
you.
in wherever you'd like.
Okay, and interrupt me whenever you want to.
Okay,
Although I'm a bit aware not to talk too much, so we can have a good dialogue.
we're good.
Thank you. So my name is Toni Ghazi, everyone. I'm Lebanese. I was born in Lebanon. I moved to Washington, D.C. when I was 15, and I've been here ever since. So, like Sandra and I live 10 minutes away from each other. She's in Bethesda. I'm in D.C. It's like I'm always in Bethesda. And I'm a realtor, so I sell real estate. You may see my names around in all three states. But on top of that, I also am a channel. I speak to insectoid beings, and that awakening happened exactly when COVID came. But let me backtrack for a moment to like Lebanon, just so you have a little bit of context to how my progression happened. And this is the fast version, guys. Otherwise, and I'll come back on Sandra's show most likely, and vice versa, many
Oh,
times
yes.
to talk about all kinds of things. But I was born in Lebanon, and I'm a Christian, so I grew up in the Christianity idea of what religion is, and I was under the Christianity understanding till I was 40 years old when COVID came. Now I've let go of religion, at least from the way in which I see it, and I comprehend it differently, and we can get into that in a few minutes. Um, and I never believed in aliens or UFOs. I didn't know what channeling was, or beings like Octurians, Pleiadians, you name it, our dimensions, densities, the dead. Everything that's woo-woo was not in my thing. What was in my thing for like 40 years is I prayed to to Mother Mary and like to Jesus every day and every night. Like we weren't like fanatically like religious, but like religion was in our household and praying and like mom and dad remind me every day to pray to like Jesus, Mother Mary. So it was an everyday practice to pray. And I love going to church. I love candles. I love the smell of incense. I love like iconic things because we're Greek Orthodox. Our churches are filled with icons and saint. Like I just love that, and it feels holy. So that was my whole life until I was 40, and then COVID came, and my husband was like watching TV like everybody else was because you didn't know how to run business, how can we sell real estate. So the first month and a half when like COVID became real to us, we didn't have much business because we were trying to figure out how to conduct business under the new like rules of staying, put a mask on, like 6 feet away, and all these things. And during that time, I had some time to watch TV. I'm super busy. Like normally, I don't watch TV often. If I do, it's at night after a long day, just to numb myself and like fall asleep. But during that month and a half, I watched TV, and the Gaia channel like popped up. I didn't subscribe to it, didn't know what that was. For the ones who don't know what the Gaia channel is, you can get it on Amazon. It's an app. Everything spirituality, everything woo-woo, from consciousness to meditation to yoga to aliens, disclosures, everything woo-woo is there. Beautiful like documentaries, beautiful speakers. And somehow, through the many documentaries like that they have, the interview with extra dimensionals like came on with Ruben Langdon. That's purely about channelings, and these people that have been channeling all these extraterrestrial beings since the 80s, even like 75. Like, oh my God! I mean, I was born in 80, so these people during like an era where you wouldn't even talk about other things that are human, like let alone speaking about things that are unhuman, they've been doing. And he had he had 2 seasons. Each season was like 8 episodes or so with a like channel each. And Now, I'm listening to these new words, new concepts, channeling, Pleiadians, Arcturians, beings out of the body, extraterrestrials from this planet, that planet. Okay, you understand the English of it, but no context of how it comes together. I was obsessed, and of course, a lot of new words that I haven't even heard of in the religious kind of context. For some reason, I was obsessed. And I watched the show probably 6 times each episode for the next month and a half when I had time. And then real estate began happening again. And it got really busy with real estate because during the COVID, we did really well, blah, blah, blah. Everybody wanted houses. And, so that's when my awakening like began. It took me a full year to really comprehend contextually what these things were. But in retrospect, me like watching the episodes over and over again were information and like data that was awakened in my field that would sprout into a little plant, into a tree, into an understanding, into a link, into a synchronicity along the year that put the pieces like together. Of course, throughout that first year, I was obsessed with getting channels. The people call me like the channel king or the like session king, because everybody at channels I would get a session with, like, give me information, I was just obsessed. And like, please tell me more about who I am, where I come from, whatever. Along that first year journey, I met a friend through another friend in like Fairfax, Virginia, that does past life regressions, where you get hypnotized and you go into your past lives, future lives, whatever. I wasn't even sure if I can get hypnotized. I've never been hypnotized in my life. I didn't think I could. Apparently, I did immediately. The moment I went under hypnosis is where the praying mantis came through. The first image was of a triangular head of an insectoid being. Now, what was interesting about that moment is just phenomenal. Is the image was like this. It came in left, like instantaneous, but you saw it. But I was also in it for a long time. It was the first time where I was hyper aware of like many awarenesses, that although I was in an instantaneous fleeting image that came and left in a microsecond, at the same time I was in it for a long time. The next image was of a like long-bodied silhouette. There was a head, like there were shoulders, and like there were arms like this, super long, about 40 feet high, like no features. It was just like light emanating out of it. It was a humanoid look of a silhouette that like came and left. But then I was in it for a long time, and telepathically, I like received the message that we are coming to, and I'm closing my eyes because I can remember it and be in like the moment. We are coming to you in this humanoid silhouette look, because if we truly come to you in our consciousness, in our intelligence, the way that we are, your mind is not gonna be able to comprehend what it's looking at. It will be like an old television, like where you have static, where it's just there's no archetype for the mind to construct what it's looking at. But as you begin to develop a relationship like with us, and begin to open your heart to whom we are, we'll begin to unfold to you who we are, what we are, how we think, what our messages are, etc., etc. And the last image was just phenomenal. Of this heart, I can't remember, and I don't even know if it was a heart in the way that's like this, the heart that we draw, or the actual heart, the boop 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 in our body. It was just a heart consciousness, but that was slice into infinity in every direction. It was just corridors of slices of a heart. Within on each of like the slice, it was faceted, like similar to this crystal. Wait, all these facets. But what was interesting is not the facets, it was the intelligent clarity of the facets. There was an intelligence and an aliveness, like there was like data and the intelligence of the clarity of the facets that went on into all these like slices of the heart. And within what seemed to be, God, infinite, massive long corridor in every direction, there was one grain, like when I say grain, the smallest grain, micro grain you can ever imagine of light. Tiny, tiny little speck of light. And I heard clearly, each and every one of you, meaning all consciousness, not just humans, plants, life, animals, planetary bodies, wind, everything's gone. Each and every one of you are so powerful that you do not need a massive flame to reveal to yourself how powerful you are. All you need is a micro drop, a micro sand of your light to reveal to yourself how powerful you are. In that moment when it hit me consciously what that is, that little micro grain of light reflected onto the one facet, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to all the infinite, creating a massive Merkaba of light. And in that moment, I knew immediately, it was an instantaneous activation remembrance within my field, that the insectoid beings, these praying mantis beings, are of unconditional love and are of light. And I ran out of that session calling my friends. Oh my God, I talked to the insectoid beings to the point I placed a decal on the back of my car, and I'll show it to you in a second so so the audience can see that's how insane and real it was. That as I'm selling real estate, people see that. And even as a realtor, I've never put anything on my car for 16 years. And I'm a realtor, and like nothing. My car is just a car, nothing on it. When I connected with the praying mantis beings, I had to put this like decal. And of course, like during that past life regression, I had other lifetimes. You know, apparently I lived a lot of lives that were very traumatic. I was buried alive 2 or 3 times. I was a slave. My back was broken in many pieces. I was a victim of many traumatic physical experiences, you know, for whatever reason. Anyhow, a lot of more details that are a bit irrelevant to this. And that's it. And like that's how my journey began. But I'll show you like the car quickly, the back of it, because it's quite visceral. And as I'm showing houses to people from all over the world, you know, because I help a lot of international like organizations here that come from every part of the world. The first thing they see is that, because you can't miss it, the whole back of the car is what you're going to see in like a second. And like many of you that live around here, perhaps I may have driven like by you, like who's that crazy guy? But well, that's me. We began this beautiful dialogue just about consciousness, religion, not about convincing them about what I do or what I believe. It's just this beautiful exchange of both souls, them and I, are trying to understand more of who we are through our lenses, and the most magnificent dialogue we have is just listening and honoring and witnessing. So this is the back of my car, which now I like never thought of before, but like this past year, I'm like, how could not I have thought of that? I like changed my car tag to Mantis, so right now it says Mantis. So which like you're not gonna see, but this is the back of my car. It's gonna there you go. And the Antarian heart, channeling extra-dimensional beings, spiritual guide. You have my name. There's a praying mantis that's orange, a gray alien. There's an alien down there. There's a Bigfoot, and there's 2 more aliens on the side. I've had that on my car since like COVID happened. Sorry, I just dropped my phone. And that's how much this other version of me activated within me, and I just ran with it. Now you have to understand, I've never channeled like publicly. You know, I took one channeling class that also happened synchronistically like throughout that first year, because the cat of my first boyfriend died, and he reached out to me because he knew I'm beginning to dabble into spirituality, and he asked me if I know like anyone that speaks to animals. I'm like, I have no idea. So I Googled some people. You know, a lot of them had a really long wait. And I found Stephanie Light, who lived, I think, in Texas, and like she channels, you know, animals. We brought Koba, like that's the cat's name, in, and she brought messages of healing for my ex-boyfriend, and it was great. And towards the end of the session, she said, "Well, like by the way, I also teach a channeling class." Oh my God! Like I didn't even know you could like in my consciousness then I didn't know there are classes to learn how to channel. Like synchronicity through the death of my cat, my ex-cat, it was all happened. And of course, cats see beyond the veil, amazing. So I'm like, please sign me up. In the moment we began channeling, it was like a 6-week course where we met twice a week on Zoom because it was during COVID. I knew I was supposed to be a channel, and the way that I knew is the following. I've always stuttered all of my life, really bad until the age of 25. And like my brother like still stutters bad now. My dad stutters, and my uncle. So my dad's lineage has like stuttering for some reason. I don't stutter as much now because I like found a bridge. So I use the word a lot, and I use the word like a lot, although I don't like to use them because I know grammatically they shouldn't be there. But I insert them there when I'm about to stutter, because if I don't, I'll go Yeah, anyhow, up to the age of 25, like stuttering was a prison of your own body. I mean, I'm smart at school. I was really like intelligent, like throughout my whole like school career or school like life, when I was in Lebanon until we moved to the US, I would never raise my hand. Of course, I would get called on when I don't want to be called on. I would have anxiety attacks. I wouldn't be able to speak. I would feel stupid. I would feel dumb. I would feel broken. I just, it's unbelievable to know that your body, when everybody else is speaking fluently, is able to articulate and express their thoughts. I couldn't even do that, even if I wanted to. The worst prison you can ever be in, to me. And I'm sure, like, many people that stutter understand it, like, viscerally, how disempowering it is to feel. So, and the reason that I'm mentioning that is not to make you feel pity, is to say when I began channeling for the first time when I was practicing, is literally the first time in 41 years, because I was 41 when I began to learn. First time in 41 years. And when I say I struggled every microsecond of my life, like, and it's the most anxious filled thing. It's always on my mind when I'm meeting people, when I'm selling real estate, when I'm doing business, when I'm talking to people, I'm always afraid to stutter. First time in my life, I didn't stutter. Under the channeling state, I was free speech. That's all it took for me to know what just happened is real. I don't care you call it channeling. I don't care you call it being possessed, or which is not, by the way. I don't care what you're going to say. To me, it was the first time I felt freedom. And I'm like, I mean, because I went to a speech therapist like one time, like for a little bit. I went to psychics and other things to try to heal me from it or whatever, and it never worked. That was the first time ever in 41 years where I never stuttered. And when I channel, I don't stutter, by the way. So that was to me my rocket fuel that just spun me into the next level of like, I gotta do this. I have to do this. I'm called to do this. This is my freedom. This is my awakening, and the rest is history. And now I channel on stage with people that have been channeling since the 80s that are like gurus of channeling. Unbelievable. They were my icons, and I would watch them like channel like for a while. Now I'm channeling beside them, and it has nothing to do with that. But like to my mind, it's unbelievable how my acceleration occurred to going from not believing of any of this to all of a sudden awakening during COVID, to like my cat dying, my ex-cat dying, to like learning how to channel, to not stuttering during channeling, that fueled me that now it's my next business. So I have two businesses. I have real estate and I have this, and they're both full time, and they both keep me busy, and they're both amazing. And so that's a little tidbit of my life, my love.
Well, it's amazing because, many who are stepping into this position of soul's destiny or choices we made prior
Yeah.
has to do with connection of higher self and beings, right?
Yes.
And so many discard and dismiss messages that they receive because we're not taught how to integrate them.
Yeah.
We're taught if you didn't hear it, see it, feel it, learn it, it isn't real. So we bypass it. So now that we're stepping into many more that are awakening to, um, you know, anything other than terrestrial, unseen world, we have to bypass now what we guess is our imagination and learn to play with it and allow it to open up and show us. And we'll know through our own techniques of discernment as we go what is real and what is not real. Now, I love the fact that you jumped into past life regression. I've been receiving it for over 30 years. It's changed my life. I had to become a practitioner of it because it changed my life. And, what you receive in there when you're open to this place, and you're not like, walk the plank or jump out the window. It's not that kind of hypnosis. It's
Right.
you're just in this deep, sort of a very light twilight of quiet. And then it's almost like this picture tube comes on in your brain, like this portal opens up, and there's just a different calm that comes over the body. And pictures are shown to you, and it might be one or two frames of a picture, but you kind of get the story weirdly. So I love the fact that you dove into that and you were able to see that. Now, when you were describing that infinite heart, I just kept all I could think of was source, like a visual of what you would think source would be the representation of a heart diced up in every which direction and up and down with this light in the middle. Um, it's just a fantastic story, and I just so appreciate you sharing it.
Thank you. I mean, it's my reality. It's just this is exactly what happened. and I like just hired a guy in the UK that does like AI, like imaging and movement. So we just recreated I mean, to the best of our ability. It's hard to really recreate what I experience because we don't have, it's just like different. But to the best of our ability, we created 3-minute video of my past life regression, how they kind of came in the energy. So it's a very meditative, beautiful, which I'm going to post on social media like eventually. Um, just to allow you to experience energetically what I experienced in beyond what I described in terms of like visuals. What I'm not describing also is the like knowingness of what love frequency is. We don't comprehend what
Mhm.
that is. We have a concept idea of what it is. When I say I ran out of there like knowing, I'm talking about a next level knowing of like beyond logic. So I have this new thing called um, the Antarian Heart Method that I'm working on, and eventually I'm going to write a book before the end of the year that helps people, helps leadership, helps leaders, and hopefully like people around here. Which I'll I'll kind of begin like advertising this because I have 3 lives, right? I have the real estate life, I have the woo woo life where I really like, connect galactically with people that are super open to beyond the veil, and it's beautiful that we live in like Washington D.C. because a lot of the like disclosure stuff that happens on the Hill, the government knows about all this, but that's another topic. That's another episode we should talk about.
Yes.
But the like the Antarian Heart Method is my other version of me where I help leaders. And like leader doesn't mean CEO and executive. You can be a leader of your own life, like when you're ready, um, to help leadership begin to live from a conscious way and even conduct business in a conscious way. So how do you deal with more with like investors and like with board people and with your staff and with like a Fortune 500 company and with managers and sub managers and vendors and I don't know what else and different cultures and different realities and different religion, the whole world. How do you like manage like a company as a leader from a conscious way and from a heart way, because it is time for our humanity to jump into the new frequency of what that means and begin to infuse that in the corporate world, because the corporate world is so black and white. It's so about logic, it's so about Excel sheets, it's so about expectations, so about this is what success is. There's many people that have billions and millions of dollars and have recreated that system for over and over again and have houses and I don't know what else. How many houses can you have? How many billions of dollars can you have? This repetitive cycle, but yet within yourself, deep down, when you sit, there's an emptiness. There's a quenching for something different. So how do you bridge what you already defined as success is, whatever it means to you? You keep recreating, and to you is fulfilling. But yet when you're sitting like with yourself, there's this gnawing feeling that something else is missing.
Yes.
Perhaps you go back to the old paradigm. Let me make more millions. Let me travel this. Let me do that, whatever. And still, so I am the portal, one of the portals that will assist people to bridge those two and begin to live from the heart while having everything else. It's not to leave your success or not to make money or whatever. Keep doing that. But how do you bridge the heart with all of that? Very different. That's not from the logic. You leave the logic aside and you fall into the heart and into full surrender. It's an absolute amazing method that I'm beginning to create. It's going to revolutionize people. And I'm going to begin advertising it more like consciously. And this is part of unfoldment in like the path, right? It's to trust where you're being called and what you need to do. Um, because we all desire it. Because at the end of the day, whoever you are, you're a janitor, you work at McDonald's, you're an architect, you're a doctor, you're a successful, you're a billionaire, I don't care. Whatever you are, when you go back home and you're by yourself, when you're showering, when you're peeing, when you're sleeping, when in those private moments you're by yourself, you're not thinking of all of that. You're thinking of self. Who am I? Who are you really?
Hmm.
We're identities, we're costumes, we're fear, we're what like family told us, we're what society told us, we're what, you know what I mean? Of course, like not 100%. You may know parts of yourself, but diving deeper, deeper, deeper into your essence, into your energy, into something beyond identities is a very, very different world. And you need a guide with you. You need somebody to handhold you. So I'll hold space for you and like guide you to do that. It's going to be impressive and it's going to be amazing. So, and that's for everyone. You don't have to be a leader. You can be a human, like you. I'm the leader of my own life, right?
Yes.
You're the leader of your own life. So how do you begin living life? And from the teachings of those beings, it's just phenomenal. They literally push me out of the logic. And when you do that, you're in foreign territory. dark territory, scary territory. It requires trust. It requires that, oh my God, in this dark that I don't know, like territory, is more of who I am, right? So how do you begin to trust that? Because we've been so conditioned. Don't let go, don't trust, unless you know. Expectation. You do A, B, C, you arrive to D. Well, with the mantis says A, B, C, and you jump to Z, or to another letter that doesn't exist. It requires full trust, and it requires a reconstruction of what the world is, who
Mhm.
you are, what the universe is, what darkness is, what exorcism is, evil, dark, God, like black, white, good, uh, all of it. The idea of morality, we created it. That doesn't exist through the eyes of creation, through the eyes of consciousness, intelligent, live being. There's no morality is a construct of our own imagination of because we forgot who we are. The Mantis beings talk very deeply, and like for a whole year in 2024. Yeah, 24, because we're 26 now, 25 last year. In like 2024, I held back like messages like from them because I'm like, because like they would download me this information. I'm like, no freaking way on earth humans are gonna understand this. Like no way they're gonna receive it. They're gonna be so triggered and like they're gonna think I'm freaking crazy that I held back that information because I disempowered humanity in my own disempowerment way. And in 2025, in the beginning of it, absolutely not. You are not here to convince people what it is. You are not here to you're here to just be the messenger. Relay the message and let the empowered souls decipher it in the way that they're meant to decipher it and receive whatever they need to receive to awaken from them. And last year was a very like visceral year for me because I went into a lot of shadow work, a lot of deep work on self. So look, as you begin to unravel your paradigm, like up until the age of 40, I thought the world was the world that I understood, which we all understand. Religion, school, get a PhD, get a master's, get an MBA, do this, whatever it is that like society said, and get a job, corporate job. You have to make at least 6 figures and live in this neighborhood and have whatever, blah, 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 blah. You do that. And it's this repetitive loop. And and like there's unfulfillment, right? Um, and then you begin to awaken. When you begin to awaken, what awakening is unraveling what you thought you were and knew, and the allowing to see something different. So that something different that you're seeing becomes infused into your world, and all of a sudden, the world you once knew now is this, but more of this that keeps expanding. So everything begins to expand and like change, and on that path of expanding and like changing. Um, you begin to reconstruct literally what reality is and who you are and how you think and how you unfold and what magic is and what God really is and what religion really is and what's all these teaching and what does enlightenment really mean and what's meditation and like everything begins to unravel. And that's what enlightenment is. It's the
Mhm.
unraveling of what we absolutely thought was to something new that is forever living. Um, and I'm digressing a bit here, but it's just phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal when you begin to live in the unknown, in this unstructured way of being, fully trusting that all of it is God, all of it is consciousness, all of it is leading you to more of who you are. It's a very different way of living. No expectation. Yes, fear will still be there. Yes, doubt will still be there. Yes, you will still um, like forget at times, but the rate, the frequency, the speed at which you forget and remember again begins to shorten.
Mhm.
And that, so it's not enlightenment is not about like never going through challenging moments. As you know, I've been dealing with my lower back and my L4, L5, S1 for a month and a half now, which is the longest experience I've ever had. So it's not about not going through that anymore, but it's about even while I go through that, how do I see God in it?
Yes.
Even while do I go through that, how do I keep remembering that I am empowered, that I have the ability to align and heal or whatever it is, right? So all these opportunities that we don't prefer, because society said if you're this, you're broken, but if you're on this spectrum, then you're perfect. How do we maneuver this and see the magic in it? Because underneath, what the Mantis beings told me, underneath all creations, even the fact I'm dealing with my spine and back and everything that I really honestly, as a 3D mind, don't want to deal with. Even under that, there is creation. Who's creating that aspect? There isn't fuel under it. What is that fuel? What is making this? It's God. It's unconditional love. Love, God, universe, source, loves us without conditions, that it allows us to experience everything, the infinite. Because if God was conditional, then it will give us only this spectrum of like reality, which is, oh, I'm happy, I'm successful, I have a white picket fence, I have dogs, I have family, I'm meditating every day, I'm like giving love and light, for the world. I'm perfect. I have the perfect life. This spectrum. But now with this spectrum, which is I'm depressed today, I feel suicidal, I was molested when I was a child, I lived through the Lebanese Civil War, I started all of my life, I'm not making enough money, I have everything, my I'm going through my back, whatever the things that we've been taught through society, like the not what I call not enoughness of who we are,
Yes.
is also God. So how do you begin to see that as a gift, as an opportunity? Because it's easy for us to see the light in the light. When the whole point is, how do you see the light in what seems to be dark? This segment is what will allow you to ascend, expand. This is what we are attempting to realize, that we're the whole spectrum, that we're everything. We're the neutral, we're the positive, and we're the negative. But not from the way we understand positive and negative, just from the way that everything is experiential. Through the Mantis Beings, they said, uh, uh, in like when I channel, you'll see how they speak. They speak in a very profound way. Um, Creation never judges us. Creation actually honors us fully for what we are doing. Because as we experience what we experience, we allow God, the consciousness, the energy, to experience more of what it is through us. When you begin to realize that, wow, God is expanding as I'm expanding. And also, I want to mention one thing: God doesn't know fully who it is. The same way that I know myself, who I am as of right now, and I'm thinking I'm invincible in my own mind, God, in its own way, at wherever point of consciousness it is, understands itself as that, as a more expanded way of who we are. But it never fully knows itself. Why? Because it's an infinite continuum. But through our stories, through our experience, because we're all interconnected and linked, right? We're never disconnected. So as we go through our stories and all shades of it, all that data is being like filtered back to him or her or it, expanding its own world. So we are precious people, precious experiences that get to expand what is something much larger like than us. When you comprehend that beyond the concept and the logic, you're like, wow, my story, my life that I prefer, don't prefer, judge, unjudge, love, don't love, is actually allowing source to expand through me. Like, do you understand how valuable you are? How valuable your life is, my life is, everyone's like life are. The mantises are so expanded, they talk about very triggering topics that I was afraid sometimes to even, I'm like, oh my God, no way, I'm gonna be ridiculed, and they're not gonna get it. They talk about war, they talk about Hitler, they talk about like serial killers, they talk about all the negative, dark side of humans from an unconditionally loving way.
Mhm.
And because these questions like were posed like throughout like the events that I've done, like people would come up to the stage and ask a question. Like there was one guy that asked a question, if there's a loving God or if there's a loving consciousness, why is there war on the planet? Why are there kids dying and women dying? This was his specific question, like related around like victimhood. And the way they answered the question is unbelievable. I know it didn't come from my mind because I never thought that way. Unbelievable on how they expand the heart. And like we can get into it later, under like the channel state. They've allowed me to unpack. Oh, and like what I wanted to mention is like that I missed the point because I like digressed a bit. Last year was a year that I began going into my shadows, into I am, into my identities, into my what I thought flaws, what I don't prefer, what I want to fix, what I want to heal, da da da, the not enoughness of who I am. Going deep like into it. I use plant medicine, I've used mushrooms, I've used other, I've used bufo, like which is like a toad medicine, not legal in the US, but whatever, a lot of people do it. I've gone across the globe. Of course, the government doesn't want you to know that, because the more you expand with those energies, the more you realize your like consciousness, so they want to limit those things. But anyways, you work with plant medicines when you get called, and they assist you. And it's not to become a crutch to use them, because I don't do it that way. I'm actually afraid to use them because they're teachers.
Yes.
They will kick your ass. Believe me when I tell you I'm terrified every time I do them. I am terrified. My heart's about to explode out of my chest. My eye turns totally black as fear. It's scary to go into the power of who you are because you're
Yes.
deconstructing your ego. I mean, I have full honor and privilege, and when they call me, my heart drop, and I know when my heart drops, even, uh, like because like when they call on you, my heart drops. Like, oh shit, oh my God, I have to go there. It's terrifying. So, so like last year, I worked a lot on myself as I'm doing my like billion other things. So I walk the talk of what I teach through my experiences and as it unfolds, right? Um, because oftentimes we can teach concepts and ideas, but unless you experience them personally, it's a very different frequency of teaching, because now you know what you've gone through. Now you see the magic and the love and the integration and where God molecules exist in everything, like the beauty. In summation, for people who don't understand like insectoid beings, because even the idea of insects on our planet are scary. A lot of humans on our planets like kill insects, step on ants, or kill a cockroach, or kill a stink bug, or whatever it is. Although more people are awakening not to do that. I mean, I live in DC, we have a home, and we don't have a lot of bugs, but like bugs come in and I talk to them. I don't kill them. I don't even put them outside. I said, listen, I recognize them as consciousness. I said, look, I know it's cold outside or it's really hot outside. You can be here a bit, your babies can be here for a little bit, but when everything calms down, you want to go outside, okay? So I really like dialogue with them and I'm not afraid of them. Because beyond the concept of their insects, I'm not convincing myself they're light beings. I know they're light beings. I know they're my other version. I even had, look, we've been in this house for 8 years, and this may trigger like some people, but that's okay. We've never had mice in our house. There was 1 month where there were 3 mice. I know people say they bring diseases. I don't believe in that. You believe you bring disease, you bring disease to your house. Anyways, there were like 3 mice. And like the way that I found them is they were under the trash. I don't even know how they got under the trash can. It's like this like metallic trash can. And I see this little string and I'm like, "Oh, there's a string there." And as I approach the string moves. It was the tail of a mouse. And I open up and I like lift the like trash can and I see these 3 small tiny mice. Literally, immediately I heard I heard like telepathically, this is the moment for you to challenge what you say. Everything is consciousness. Why are these 3 small tiny mouse are like doing in your home? And I left them do whatever they want. And like we have 5 dogs, so you know. Anyways, um, they were there and they left. Like one day they were completely gone. Throughout this whole journey, I allowed myself to dive deeper into consciousness and like dialogue with them and like talk to them and have a real dialogue with what I'm teaching because they are a facet of me, they are an aspect of me. What message are they bringing to me? Instead of like showing them and thinking about disease, I even filmed a video outside on my fence. At night, there was this mouse that would like run across the fence, the cutest thing ever. And he stopped and he like looked at me. I'm like, I want to video you. And like you'll see it on Instagram, and it's on all like social media. And I just started talking to him. Like, hey, mama, how are you? Oh my God, it's so good to see you. Like because we have bird feeders, and I think it would come to eat like some of the food of the birds. And I'm like, okay, honey, you're hungry. It's okay. You can eat as much as you want. No problem. You eat and you go back to your babies and you live your life. And on social media, like many people received that message. A few of them were like, "Oh my God, it's people like you that bring diseases to the world. It's people like you that," and I'm going like, "Listen, it's okay. I honor the vision or the view of that person. I'm not here to convince you to think differently. I know what I believe in. When I say that mouse is an aspect of me, I believe that. It's a version of me. I believe that. It's a God molecule. I believe that. It's Mother Mary, Jesus, and Buddha, and Krishna. Everything is in it. I believe that. And I dialogue consciously with it. And disease, if I believe in the fact they bring disease, then I will create that reality. I don't believe in that. I believe they're a conscious being. They are part of um, our world. They love, they have babies, they procreate. The same thing as human. We are not different as they are. But when we separate ourselves from them consciously, because most humans see aspects of animal as less than, as less intelligent, as whatever, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's how we're creating the idea of like diseases, because we're separating, creating distance between us. But when you merge ourselves as energy beings and they are with me and one with me, then you're co-creating an integrative force between us where disease doesn't exist in the frequency of unconditional love. Love, frequency of love, doesn't contain disease. It contains honoring of the glue, the fabric that glues us all together is love. And that's what we're awakening to. And it's everywhere. And we get challenged to be in that vibration and frequency of love. So through my everyday life and how I speak and do and challenge myself, I do. I mean, listen, the fact that I say I'm an insectoid being like channel what I like forgot to share with you guys is I've been afraid of insects all of my life. Cockroaches, bees, anything that's like buzzy, like whizzy, that has like multi-legged, I would run the other way. No way on earth, like literally deathly terrified. All that changed when I reconnected my energy, like within Mantis Beings, that I even challenged myself. I see cockroaches, like, at times outside, and I talk to them. Bees now, they come and they swarm and they land on me in crazy
Yes.
ways. Amazing, like amazing magical things begin to happen. I get so like I go to Great Falls on like the Potomac side, and like I meditate. I go deep into the woods, away from path and people, and I have a tree like that I named Rose, and like she was part of my awakening, where I would go and sit and meditate and just talk to nature. I have deer that come up to me. I have moth, like moon moth, that come and fly. Like I have pictures and videos, all these things. I have foxes. I have owls. Like magical experiences that are so close to you. You begin to snakes, black rat snakes, they're called. They would just like dangle from trees. Like absolutely magical things you begin to witness in dialogue. Like unbelievable when you become one with everything. What's oneness? In spirituality, we talk about oneness. What is that? It's not some concept of oneness. It's becoming one with what is, becoming one with the mice, becoming one with the bees, with the wasp, with the things that we were taught are different and separate and bring diseases. That's what oneness is, beyond the logic. It's the actions, it's the challenge, it's the intention. It's all beauty.
It is truly all beauty. And I could sit here and blop, 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 blop on everything that you've just said. But I think for the sake of time, we're going to call in the mantis if we can. We'll ask a few questions.
Okay.
We'll let the audience digest.
Yes.
This first episode, Toni will be coming back on more often. So just subscribe to the channel, everybody, so you don't miss anything. And leave us comments. Maybe you have a question you'd like to have answered. So we're going to give Toni a minute to just
Yep.
adjust. So we're going to be quiet.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And like just as an expectation, like when they come through, like for your audience, they're gonna elongate words like initially. They're gonna do a lot of toning as they speak, and like that's to calibrate your energies and my energies and like their energies with them. And like they'll come in, they'll bring a message like for the collective Sandra, and then they'll ask you like they say you're welcome to pose a question. When you hear that, then you can begin dialogue with them. Okay.
Absolutely.
Um, if you're driving, please keep your eyes open. You can close your third eye, energetically. If you're not driving and you feel like closing your eyes, just to relax your body and nervous system, just do so and open it at any time you feel like it. There's never a right or wrong way. And just receive the profound messages that are really emanating out of your hearts. And the Antares Stargate, we come through in this way to co-create with you this beautiful reality of oneness. To merge our hearts with your heart. To be with you in this way, to be one with the energies of the divine that you are. And as we connect with you in this way, we are here to remind you that you are the eyes, the lens in which God, the universe consciousness, sees itself through. Your story, your lifetime, every microsecond of your existence on this planet is what allows the consciousness of the universe to unfold and expand into its own consciousness of who it is through you and the many facets of you. You are the sound of creation itself. You are the resonance and the symphony of everything that you call intelligence within your fields. And this idea of lifetime, this density, this physical humanity that you are living isn't dissension. In fact, it is what ascension is. The unfolding, the unfurling, the remembrance of who you are every waking moment of your life. And the gifts that you are. The aspects of the infinite continuum you are. You are the heartbeats of the many universes that exists within all planetary bodies, all densities, all dimensions. You are electromagnetic fields, light structures, color frequencies, and sound vibrations, sacred geometrical structures. If all of these things that we mentioned that orchestrate a beautiful architecture you call your reality. And you are awakening to that idea. You are awakening that each and every one of you are the projectors of the many realities that you consciously choose to remember or consciously choose to not remember. You are creators of the many facets of whom you call the one God that you are attempting to remember and reach. And with that, our dearest ones, we will begin our dialogue with you in this way. You are welcome to pose a question when you are ready. Are there any questions, our dearest one?
Yes. Thank you so much, Mantis, for being here.
Yes.
What would be the greatest misuse of human intelligence at this time?
We will answer that question in a moment, but allow us to understand fully what you mean by the idea of misuse. What, from your perspective, is potentially a misuse?
I think for me, it's the rigidity of programming, and not able to let go of patterns that block our creativity and imagination and opening our heart center. But intelligently, we're not being able to bypass the logic, as we mentioned earlier with Toni. So, how could we maybe better live in harmony with all of it and still live a human 3D life. So, if there anything in the human intelligence that we could maybe improve upon or adjust the dial so that we could be more open?
Yes. Thank you for posing such a question and elaborating further. Because part of our role within humanity is to, within precision, with precision, dissect the way in which you formulate your questions. And our consciousness is conscious of whom you are as ascended masters, is conscious of whom you are as value for creation, conscious of the fact that every microsecond of your existence is of the same value to anything else you may deem more valuable within your mind. And from that perspective, we would like to invite you in your audience, when you re-listen to such a recording, the way in which the question was posed. There were substances and elements and words within it of disempowerment, of truly judgment. That even the idea of misuse within our consciousness doesn't exist. The idea of better than, or a higher version of, or a different path or timeline, as if this timeline is of less value than this timeline. From our perspective, none of those exist, but we comprehend through your forgetfulness, you see it that way. And we are here to remind you on how to bring value in everything that is occurring. That God consciousness is playing a role in everything that is unfolding. That even through the idea of forgetting fully who you are and going through the forgetfulness of who you are, creating through that idea of forgetfulness is an aspect of creation, is an aspect and an intersecting point of what you call the infinite continuum. Because as we have said that before to humanity, how else are you able to remember that you are an infinite being shall you not experience every intersection point of what you call the infinite? So through allowing yourself to experience all of the points of what seems to be the infinite continuum is what allows you to remember that you are an infinite being. But from the aspect of forgetfulness, from the aspect of judgment, from the aspect of polarity, from the aspect of separation, you have created a paradigm of judgment, essentially, that shall humanity be here, then it is less than, but shall it be here, then it's more of value and it is more awakened. We are here to allow you to awaken within the idea of what awakening is, that every moment is an expansion of what is, that even the idea of darkness itself, even the idea of forgetting fully who you are itself is an aspect of ascension, because it is delving deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the infinite shades of what forgetfulness is. You see, from the construct in which you comprehend your world, from the limited way in which you are understanding your world, although desiring intellectually, not from your heart, not from the space of surrender, intellectually from the idea of expectations, attempting to understand more, you are keeping yourself in a way in the prison of judgment. Because even the idea of love has infinite shades. Even the idea of hate, let's say, has infinite shades. Even the idea of less than has infinite shades. Even the idea of better than has infinite shades. The idea of happiness, the idea of sadness, all of these definitions, all of these descriptions of what is have infinite shades of. And when you fully surrender into each of the shade, seeing the value, equal value as everything else, is the moment where you integrate all of those pieces into one to allow yourself to see yourself as whole, containing all of those shades. But within your awakening path, you have already deemed what seems to be of value and what doesn't seem to be of value. And that is an act of unconscious judgment, of unconscious separation. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
So, about an hour before the show, I decided to lay down and just bring in source and the mantis, as I knew we were going to be doing our show. And I was just flooded with electrical energy just pulsating through my body with cold chills and so on, even though I was laying on a heating pad. And I could feel my body going through shifts, a little more deeply than I do other times. Um, is that part of the mantis frequency or the energy that was coming in close and helping me to tune in to this particular show with you, Toni, and the mantis?
Do you see our smile?
Yes,
Yes.
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 It's been doing this the whole time.
Yes.
It
You
was like so like, ooh, okay, this is deep.
Yes, you have already. You see, by the idea of creating such a co-creation, by the intention alone of inviting us in to your heart, and listen to what we are saying, inviting us in to your heart. You aren't inviting us in from outside in. You are literally activating an aspect of us within you. So what you experience in that moment, although you were laying on a heating pad, you experience the idea of coldness. It is the expansion of your heart, the expansion of your own remembrance of who you are, a vaster, a much larger aspect of you that you have fallen into. And that idea of coldness is similar to the idea of going down into caves, let's say, within your planetary bodies, within Mother Earth, when you go deep, deep, deep into the belly of Mother Earth where the temperature changes. But then you eventually acclimate to such a temperature. It is a foreign territory for you, in a way. It is a new frequency that your body has no meaning to yet, hence why it feels cold. But soon enough, it will calibrate and become one with you. And through that calibration, you'll receive the clarity of the many messages that you have unfolded yourself into. You have expanded into a higher wisdom of knowingness within your own field. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
So now I will recognize that frequency and that feeling and associate it as I call upon the mantis.
Indeed.
Yes, thank you. It was a little different than others I've done. So it was just enough of a tweak that I thought, I think I'd like to ask. So thank you for that.
Yes, and thank you for recognizing that tweak, our dearest one. As we have mentioned many times, your world can shift. Shall you move a micro inch to the right, or a micro inch to the left, or a micro inch diagonally to the top, or a micro inch? When you shift your lens a micro degree, everything else changes. And you were conscious enough to realize that subtle shift that allowed you that awakened consciousness. You became conscious of that subtle shift that allowed you to fall into that wisdom that
Mhm.
is already within you.
Thank you.
Yes.
What is the one practice that would genuinely help humans live better right now? Is there just one type of practice maybe someone could bring into their world today that would genuinely help them as a human, but also help their demographics, their family? Because once we adjust ourselves, things around us adjust. So,
Yes.
what would you suggest?
And you have already answered our question, your question, our dearest one. It does begin with thyself.
Yes.
It always begins with the creator that you are. It begins with facing who you are, shedding the identities, shedding the programming, beginning to move away what you thought you knew you are. And this doesn't mean the identities and the roles and the costumes that you have worn and played and taken off and put back on weren't the point. They were the point. But now you are diving deeper into the creator that is inside of them in a way. The being, the energetic being that gave birth to all of these other costumes. And that could be challenging at times to see thyself fully for the first time. Because oftentimes you get to meet that other version whom you have never met before. Is a stranger, feels foreign, feels empty, has no meaning, is completely new. But within the surrender beyond the intellect, into that version is where you begin to feel, similar to what you experience, that micro degree of a frequency of a difference, of knowing who you are. There is that sprouting within your heart, that little tingle, that little whisper that you know who you are, but yet you cannot grasp it yet.
Mm.
The falling into self is the key, but even deeper than that is not judging your story, not judging everything you have gone through. Because oftentimes within the storyline of who you are, from the moment you were conceived to the age you are today, there are many chapters or ingredients there or memories that you have chosen things were different. I wish I made a different decision. I wished I looked different. The aspect of judging the experiences that you have gone through, with every act or decision, conscious or unconscious of judgment, you have separated yourself from yourself. And the idea of working with self and facing yourself is to begin to see, like we said earlier, everything is of the same value, that even the aspects that you have judged consciously through the intellect are of the same value as everything else that you already deemed to be valuable. Is meeting the versions of you that you have judged and dialoguing with them, honoring and witnessing whom and what they are, because in that moment, that version of you knew its best. Today, you may know more than you knew then, but then that version of you had everything in its bank of knowledge and information to be able to act on the information that it had. So honoring that and not judging it, simply allowing it to be witnessed for what it is and bringing it back to your heart is the most crucial exercise you can do for thyself to reconstruct the many fractured pieces that you have thrown away, pushed away, buried back into your heart, reconstructing your own image of who you are for yourself for the first time. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm seeing that that it's best for me to reword my questions that I
Yes.
had
Yes.
for the mantis. So
Yes.
it's expanding my thoughts here.
Yes, our
So
dearest one, and that is the point. Thank you for recognizing that.
yes.
Because going forward, what just occurred is an activation within your field through our presence with you. Through your invitation to be with us, you have become conscious on how the programming that is deep and deep and deep and deep layer down is running the way in which you think. So the way in which you pose the questions are already activated and expanded into the next level of awakening within your own self. Congratulations, our dearest one.
Thank you. Thank you. From the mantis point of view, could we give you know, the human race a little more clarification on ascension or evolution?
Yes, allow us to pose that question back to you as perhaps your answer may resonate more familiar to humanity, because once we begin to give you ours, it's going to be slightly foreign. So, how do you define, and again, we will say this very clearly, all truths are true. From our perspective, there is no judgment as we comprehend fully that every experience, every understanding, every explanation of what you think is from your own lens of consciousness. So we honor the answer that you're about to give us fully for what it is. But this is simply to assist the minds of the humans on your planet as they begin to see the difference. So,
Hmm.
from your perspective, from your awakened consciousness, what does ascension or enlightenment mean to you?
For me, I think it's learning a deeper message within each moment in each lesson that presents. So how I may approach or respond to something now could have been very different from last week. And bringing myself into this oneness and knowing that Earth just isn't condensed to the top surface of Earth and then a few layers of human sky, the planets, that there's so much more that we have not explored and we're yearning to explore, and accepting the fact that, you know, the unseen is so powerful to the seen as much as the seen is to the unseen. And so this evolution of growing and expanding and accepting that there's so much more. And it may sound extremely bizarre, but if I tap into my personal feelings and allow that to be my barometer, it navigates me in a different way. So I feel like I'm ascending to just a different platform here on Earth. So I'm seeing things from a different bird's eye view. One minute I could be on the sidewalk, the next minute I could be on the top of a building, or I could be soaring on top of a mountain. So I'm seeing everything below me and above me from a different point of view. And it's a big expansion of my heart as well. There's just so much love that comes in and so many feelings of emotions that get evolved when I think of how maybe I responded a year ago to Al and where I am now. I can't wait to what happens 6 months and 1 year from now. And so I think a lot of people maybe view it differently. So I thought I could hear the perspective of what the mantis may think or feel.
Yes, indeed. And thank you for sharing with us your perspective. Many of you on your planet have been conditioned the idea of expansion from the idea of positivity and negativity. We are boiling it down to the basics. You perhaps are slightly more expanded within your consciousness than perhaps the rest of humanity, although there are many humans on your planet that believe precisely what you said, or even in different ways. But let's take it down to the basics of good or bad, war and peace, the polarity of things, positive and negative. Through the eyes of creation, there are no positives, there are no negatives. Everything, like we said before, is of the same value as everything else. And when we say everything, we know that humanity has packaged the idea of everything, perhaps slightly to the positive scale. Everything means the whole spectrum of all realities, of all experiences, all shades of everything. So even when we get posed the question about where humanity is heading, how better can it be, predict the future for humanity, the questions oftentimes are coming from a disempowerment, less value humanity is now, and there is more value somewhere else. And that is where you are awakening to. That is what awakening is. Beginning to realize that every now moment of creation within your own life personally, let alone the collective, the billions of people on your planet, within every now moment of creation is honor, is privilege, and is the witnessing of with consciousness, consciously. Because the more and more that you are conscious of the microseconds of your life, the more that you are essentially expanding your reality. Oftentimes you desire to expand, you are right here and right now, but your mind or your expectation are 10 steps ahead. There is a fight between the right here and right now and the desire to be somewhere else. That distance, that desire, that judgment essentially is keeping you from making that first step, that advancing of self, because the way in which you advance yourself with each step is becoming conscious of what is happening right here and right now. Not simply becoming conscious, but seeing the value that it is God, it is creation, it is the point, it is part of the infinite. And it is of the same value as the next step that you perhaps may deem higher in your mind. And through the religious sense, we will say, as there are many facets in which expansion could be described, through religious sense, it has been skewed through the idea of heaven or hell, of punishment and reward. That does not exist, our dearest ones. That is a concept of your own limited reality. But even through that forgetfulness, there is value. Even through that forgetfulness in the idea of heaven and hell, there is value, there is expansion, there is awakening to another shade of forgetfulness. So when you become conscious of that, then you begin to expand at an accelerated rate. But in order for you to become conscious of what is outside of you, it needs to begin with the consciousness of what is within you. It truly begins with the projector. You are the producer of your own reality. And it begins with the value that you see yourself. And when you begin to comprehend these concepts from a very expanded way, that I am an energy being, forever living, I never die, I simply create and recreate in many forms, in infinite shades of forms. When you fully comprehend that beyond the intellect, you fully also let go of the idea of destination. Knowing consciously that you will never reach the idea of the infinite, as it's forever creating and recreating. So what happens when you surrender into not questioning the future, the infinite? In that moment of surrender, it brings your consciousness and awareness to what is happening right here and right now. The fully witnessing of God playing the many roles through you, with privilege, with honor, without any judgment. Each and every one of you are vessels at how God expresses itself through you. That's how precious you are. And when you begin to identify with the idea of preciousness through you, the idea of ascension and expansion through you, then your lens of seeing the rest of humanity, every other consciousness outside of you, you'll be able to resonate and see it from that expanded state, giving the honor and the privilege for the many ascended masters surrounding you, living out their roles for their own expansion individually, and living out their roles for the expansion of the collection of the billion of humans on your planet and every other consciousness in between. The plant life, the water consciousness, the animals, the insects, etc., etc. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, we'll do one more question.
Yes.
So, you know, many of us in this world of working with the invisible realms, we will hear things like they don't interfere unless you invite them in.
Yes.
They don't interact with you unless you invite them in.
Yes.
So my question for the mantises is, do you have an ethical boundary that governs your interaction with humans? Is there an invitation that needs to be given? I mean, because a lot of people don't know about the mantis. So, it might be like the last thing someone, would think about calling upon. So what would you suggest to us here, the listeners, about that?
Indeed. We will go back to the idea in which to pose the question simply for your audience to become conscious on whom they are and what they are. Nothing is coming outside in, nothing is being invited outside in. Be very mindful that everything is awakening from inside out. Is that clear?
Yes.
Everything is occurring from inside out. Although you experience the idea of the sun and the moon and other planetary bodies in the sky and the clouds away from you, that is only happening through the lens in which you chose to see energy through. You chose to put on lenses, glasses that say, I would like to experience the idea of energy through density and separation and distance. So you experience energy from that lens. But what is really happening is you are that conscious energy that is projecting everything outside of you. So when you begin to comprehend that, You'll begin to activate aspects of you that are expanded and stretched. Now, our energies, our frequency and vibration is quite expanded. So, to receive or to get, we will say, from the human words to that level, you would have had to expand a bit further into other forms of energies, right? So, oftentimes you begin to expand the idea of what God is, what Jesus is, what Mother Mary is, what Buddha and Krishna are. So when you begin to recognize that they are part of me and within me, and begin and you see the moment that your consciousness, you become conscious that you are more, although you don't know yet what that more is. That intention alone begin to restructure the synchronicities within your life, bringing in the appropriate pieces, the relevant pieces of the puzzle, to begin enlarging and constructing your paradigm larger and larger and larger. Now, when you become conscious and open to simply the idea of insectoid beings, and you feel safe within your system, they could awaken within you immediately, yes. But when you are still feeling unsafe or thinking through ideas of rigidity and separation and higher than lower, and things of forms and shades of judgment, then perhaps you may not reach us that quickly yet. There are other beings that seem slightly closer to you and then your consciousness that you may tap into first in order to allow the opening to something slightly more strange and foreign. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, so the synchronicity within your own consciousness and how vast you are ready to stretch the walls of your reality is what will dictate which beings will come in to reconstruct your energy for you. Everything again occurring internally within you.
Thank you so very much, Mantis, for being here, and Toni for bringing you through. And we look forward to visiting with you again very soon. And so we'll let you decompress there for a minute.
With our unconditional love, bright, 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 bright white light of creation, and the darkest shadows of the infinite, we thank you for this beautiful co-creation of oneness, as you have allowed us to expand in our own understanding of whom we are as the infinite through your precious lenses. And in turn, you have allowed consciousness, God, Source itself, to expand through your stories. We are forever grateful for these interactions and always honor you for fully who you are as the divine crystalline structure of God itself. You are never judged by creation. Instead, you are fully honored for everything that you create, as all of it is an illusion to begin with through this specific density and lens. We will bring the channel back momentarily as we head back through the Antares Stargate. Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Toni.
You're welcome. You know what just
Thank
went?
you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, honey. You know what just came through my mind is I'm in touch with the Noetic Sciences with a dear friend that works there. Um, and like she does testing on, and I'm sorry if like you hear noise because our house cleaner is here.
It's okay.
Hopefully it's not too noisy. And although I instructed her not to vacuum down here, but that's okay. Trusting, trusting, trusting.
It's
Sound and
okay. It
vibrate.
is.
Sound.
Hey, this is a human video, and we get noise, we sneeze, we cough, we clear. Everything's fine.
Amazing. So I always wondered, like scientifically, to see like what happens when I get into these deep meditative, like you know how they can put
Yes.
these probes on your head. I really want to get like do that and go into deep meditative state when I bring them to channel, just to see what happens with theta state. I don't know. Like I'm not a physicist, and I don't really connect with physics that much. It's not my thing, but just to know what happens
Yes.
in my mind visually, or which we all can do, obviously. You know, all of us are channels and have these abilities, but it's just super cool to kind of, and especially for people that don't believe, right? It's like, oh, well, let me show you what really happens in the mind. I'm just curious.
Yes.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, it really would be. And when you figure that out, let me know. I'll join you.
Totally.
Because
And
I'd like to get the physical aspect of like while you're channeling what my physiology is going through.
okay, perfect. So, okay, for anyone out there that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody through like Sandra's connection or my connection, there is a scientist that knows what we're talking about. These probes you put on at Johns Hopkins University, I don't know, Princeton, Harvard, whoever. We're two guinea pigs. You can put these probes on. I'll channel. She'll be asking. Let's see what happens between both of our energies. I think that would be amazing. So, we're open subjects, right?
Yes, and the energy has just been flowing through me like crazy. So listen, we want to honor your time, but I really want to invite all of our guests to, you know, take the mental monkey mind, turn it down, turn those ears down, reach in, turn your heart up, and really just be present with the energies and the information that has come through in a present moment time. And so when you're turning the mental down, you're turning the logic down, you're turning the programs down and things like that. And if you have difficulty doing that, I always talk about, the fear filters. And sometimes some people's fear filters just need power washed. And so, that's going to wash out your nervous system, help to reset you. And when you're in a calmer state, you have more of an ability to accept things without so much judgment and just to be with it and maybe have no judgment at all. Just be, okay, it's information. Cool, whatever, got it, keep going. And you just never know what pathway it's going to send you down and what else you're going to receive, much less transmute and translate and rejuvenate the entire body at the same time, because it's a whole different pathways that a lot of people are not accustomed to experiencing. So I just want to invite anyone that's listening to be open to that. So Toni, I know you got a roll. I know you got a busy month traveling all over the place. I know I'm going to have your link in the description, but if you'd like to tell everybody where to find you.
Yes, and before I do that, just quickly, because you mentioned what you mentioned, I feel it's super like relevant.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, like the people that believe and get these ideas are already, open. But if you have like new audiences that are awakening through coming any kind of religion, you oftentimes hear about possessions and spirit taking over your body or being taken over your body. I'm telling you, none of that happens.
Yes,
I
I
mean,
know.
you may experience the idea of because of your own belief systems, but the idea of possession, that's listen, if you think about it for one moment, and not to bring the government in, but whatever entities around the world that don't want us to know how powerful you all are, each and every one of you are, of course they're going to construct some sort of storyline. The same with the gray aliens. Oh, they come and abduct. There's no abductions, guys. It's all reconnection with each other.
Yes.
But the government does do some things that are,
Mhm.
anyways, your heart knows. You're an energy being that is so vast. You're simply trying to remember, again, you're that fast. So going through these experiences, nothing is going to take over your body. You're just awakening aspects of you within you that you never knew you were. That's all. And but if your belief system is very strong about the idea of possession and evil and everything, yes, you will experience that shade of it, but it's really not happening the way that you think. So just be mindful on how you enter like these things with either disempowerment that you have no control and somebody else taking me over, or with complete control that I am the God, I am the love, I am the light. Because listen, if you look at a lot of like documentaries of like near death experiences, NDEs and plant medicine, all kind of like psychedelics of some sort, where a person got out of their mind, out of the logic, went into another altered state. The majority of the messages are so all about beauty and love and light and just aspects of indescribable feeling of euphoria and oneness and so there is proof out there that we're not seeing of that, but you get to experience it within your own self when you begin to re-empower your own conduit, right? You don't have to do these things to do that. So I just wanted to like mention that.
No, I'm glad you did, because if we don't walk around walk, and the first thing we have to do is don't worry about what the next person's doing, the collective's doing. You can't be a part of that until you learn how to work this vehicle, this avatar. And so everything's a circuit board. So learn how to play with it, turn it up, turn it down, self-control, open things up. You can, adjust your own heart rate. You can change your nervous system. You can change all kinds of patterns and habits just by stepping out and taking a look in and then going, oh, okay. I'm going to realign that a little bit differently and see what the outcome is. So we have to be open to these things. And we're in full control of how much we let in and how much, what baby steps we want to take, or what we want to do super big moonwalks. It's up to you.
Yep.
Totally up to you. So Tony, I'm going to let you go.
Yes.
Stay put, but just say goodbye to everybody.
Yes. Quickly, you can
Oh
find me.
yes, your
Yeah,
website.
no, because I distract you. You can find me. You can find me at firstname.lastname.com. Toni. So I spell my name with an I. Toni Ghazi, Ghazi.com. You find all my events there. I have one-on-one channeling sessions there. I also have praying mantis crystal skulls. I'm the only one in the world that makes them. They're amazing. Amazing stones. Eyes are obsidian. This is chevron amethyst. I have all kinds of amazing stones. What else? I do private retreats. I do group sessions like for people. I get flown all over the world or like the US. Anyhow, just reach out, and we're happy to assist. If you're a company or a corporation and you're looking for a spiritual, I'm going to say the word executive coach. I'm not crazy about the word coach, but anyways, it makes sense in your mind. A guide of some sort that helps you begin to awaken and restructure things within your field, give me a call. If you're a regular human that needs like support, I have all kinds of programs where I can work with somebody for 3, 4, 5 months or whatever. We can curate something that's like specific for you. If you're woo-woo and crazy and believe in past lives, future lives, and want sessions to know, call or email, online, just reach out. That's all. Oh,
Thank you.
yes.
What?
Well, there's one last thing sorry, there's so much to share. By the way, I live in Washington, D.C., which you guys know, right next to American like University. And UFO ships have flown over my house. I have videos of all this. Like fairies, like light ships, like, I'm not kidding, it's all like documented. So they're everywhere, like, by the way, even in Washington, D.C. They're everywhere. You just need to look and know and see. A lot of crazy stuff happened like that when I first awakened, that I forgot to mention earlier. So it's real.
It is real. It's real. I live here and I can tell you the same thing. So it
Totally.
can happen in your neighborhood too, but DC just is a hot spot for the world.
Yes.
And yeah, it's got some dark swamp energy. It's deep here, but there's many of us here anchoring so much more than just that, and breaking the cycle of feeling like you have to live in those programs. So all those glitches that are going on are like a commercial.
Yeah.
It's like a commercial. What happens when you're watching a program and the commercial comes up? You usually get up, go to the bathroom, get a drink, stretch. Well, that's what a glitch kind of is. Gives you an opportunity to get out of the program, get up and stretch, get a drink, and self-regulate. So I don't know why that just came through, but it did.
Yeah.
All right. Say goodbye, Tony.
I love you, honey. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for opening your heart. Sandra, thank you for being here.
Yep.
Absolute pleasure and an honor. So,
Well,
and I'll see you around.
yeah, you will stay put. I'm just saying bye. All right, you all make sure you subscribe to keep it spiritually simple, and don't miss any upcoming episodes. Tony's going to be back multiple times, and there's other shows that are on there that are could help you to just open. And remember, it's not always just about the content. Sometimes if you close your eyes and just listen to the symphony of which someone's voice is uh, pronunciating or bringing through, that is a powerful energy of itself too. So, just be open to all different ways to getting information.
I want to mention one thing just quickly. It's just spirits are coming. Like, I have to say this about religion. This doesn't mean you have to leave your religion.
That's
Doesn't
right.
mean you have to forget Jesus and Mother Mary,
No,
but begin to recognize the like teachings of the beautiful messages of the Bible or Quran or like Taoism or whatever is all within you. That these concepts of beings we're talking about outside of us, they're actually within you. This is the idea. You get to
hmm
create your own path. It's not to divert you from one or another, but what I always, because I did a whole thing about cult leadership, like I've had a few people said, "Oh, you're a cult leader." I'm like, you really don't know me. But anyways, let me tell you about cults. Any teachings that make you feel disempowered, that make you feel like you need, if anybody says, "Oh, I'm the one, I am a prophet of God, I am this," that's a red flag.
yes.
Through the messages, if you feel empowered and exhilarated and you're receiving tools to feel, yes, I can change my life. Those are great messages. If you're beginning to feel disempowered and reliant on them, that's another red flag. So whether consciously those like teachers are like doing it or unconsciously, that's on them. You get to discern. So being very mindful. Important message because, you know,
Well, I
And
think as we open up this apparatus
yeah,
with bringing in more information and breaking away from the programs, we do have to learn our own discernment, and that's tapping into that intuitive voice that many have not experienced yet. So
yes,
you're going to learn it just through wading through it. You will learn it,
yeah,
and you don't have to do any drastic changes and throw out any programs that have made you feel comfortable. You may learn them in a different way. You may learn those beings in a different way, Jesus, Mother Mary, Buddha, so on. You may learn them in a completely different way, or realize how so similar many of them are. So again, it's opening up that heart center. And I know we're um I'm spawning more information from you, so please say.
yeah. Thank. I mean, this is how spirits work. So I just want to invite everyone out there for Sandra and I. I do a lot of events all over the world in the U.S., but in the U.S. they happen to be on the West Coast a lot, like Colorado and like California, LA, and I don't know what else, because for like some reason the West Coast, I'm not gonna say more open than here. There's a lot of people on the East Coast that are open, but we don't have a lot of events. So if you own an event space, if you know anybody in your community like that had an event space, please connect us with them, because I really want to begin doing events for our East Coast people, because everybody has kids, everybody has jobs, everybody has like
Yes,
limited time. They can't always travel and spend the money to go to the West Coast. I want it to be super accessible for people with a small drive to come here, and like you and I like need to do like if events together. So please like reach out to us, because I don't know where all the events maker are, or any holistic things. We would love to like partner up and do something to bring conscious awareness to our West Coast, because we need it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you. I
yeah,
think that's why we're still here,
yes,
right? Is because we're anchoring this energy here.
yes,
We don't have to necessarily go clear across the country. We do
yes,
need to have more things to bring the light and the love and to soften the dense energy that is in this little DC
yes,
circle here. Trust me, if you
yes.
go away and come back, it'll hit you in the face like cement.
Yeah, yeah.
But you
And we
got to
can
learn
do,
how to maneuver through it.
yes, and like we also do land healing. I mean, we do like grid working, like Sandra and I, we
Hmm.
do all kinds of work with energy around land, around trees, around your home, around, which I haven't done much really in like real estate, really. I mean, it's just like, I guess my presence there like is doing it, but not for being. So there's all kinds of modalities and ways where we can begin to shift the energies of where we live, our neighborhood, our surrounding, our community, to bring the light, to bring the remembrance, to awaken each other into love. Really, everything is love, unconditional love, not from the mind, not Disney, not where we're constructed, full surrender into what we don't know. Very different frequency.
But it
And
can
that's,
feel like Disney sometimes.
listen, no judgment on Disney, but okay, I'll tell you this last thing. I told Sandra like earlier. There's a big difference when we're like parrots speaking these concepts over and over again, and it's very different when you begin to live what you're speaking. And
Yes.
it begins with you. When you begin to live what you're speaking and challenging yourself, going deep into who you are, and how do I get to love myself? How do I get to not judge myself? How do I even look? My lower back has been giving me issues for a month and a half, the longest I've ever been. And I'm literally forced every moment of the day to like surrender and be with it and listen. And even to me, who you think I'm awakened, by the way, I'm as regular as you are. When I
Yes.
off this channel, I go back to my life with all my brokenness and like not enoughness, trying
Yes.
to figure it out. I have two
Yes.
versions, right?
Yes.
So I'm not some special person or like guru. Um, yeah, I lost my train of thought. Like, yeah, sorry, I was talking about myself, but or the self.
Yeah, but that's okay because many of us are going through these what may feel like debilitating pains, and
Yes,
really
yes,
what it is the body remembering and letting go of
yes,
things that don't serve it. So
yes,
what it's trying to say is, hey, you're not taking the time to lay down and just be quiet so that we can help extract some things that aren't working for you
yeah,
or bring up memories and so on. So it's about rest and rejuvenation. So your body's going to find a way to say, I need you to walk a little bit slower today so
yes,
that you can smell the roses, so to speak.
yeah,
So a lot of that is coming up for many of us because I'm suffering from the same thing. And it's just a matter of just releasing all of that suffering within myself for multiple lifetimes as
yes,
well as collectively. And we walk through it to the best of our ability, allowing grace and ease,
yeah,
but at the same time keeping the frequency up so we don't get so beat down
yeah,
where it wears us out. But because we're human, we're living a human experience. We cannot forget that we are human. We're in this flesh and bone, avatar. We've got to maintain that to the best of our ability and find balance so we can navigate
Yeah.
to the best of our ability. All right, Toni, say
Okay,
goodbye
my
to
love.
everybody.
Bye guys, love you. See you around. If like see my car honk, it's because it's very visible. It's so like crazy. Honk, so I know you know.
All right, and remember,
Okay.
you are a piece of source.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, this is